The metal detector beeped loudly in Dr. Nari's hands as she walked through the ruins of Old Sol. Above her, Caltharian ships moved across the gray sky like dark clouds. She kept her head down and pretended to search for scrap metal, just like every other human was supposed to do. But Nari was not looking for scrap. She was looking for something much more important. Her brother Juan crouched beside a broken wall nearby. He wore the same dirty work clothes as everyone else, but his eyes stayed sharp and alert. Once he had been a captain in Earth's space navy. Now he led a small group of rebels who still believed humanity could be free again. Anything? Juan whispered. Nari nodded toward a pile of concrete blocks. The signal is strongest over there. Whatever is down there, it's big. They had been searching for weeks. Old records hidden in secret places spoke of something buried beneath the city. Something the Caltharians never found when they conquered Earth 130 years ago. Day, their young engineer, crawled over to them. His face was dirty, but his eyes were bright with excitement. "I found an entrance," he said quietly. "Hidden under those metal sheets." Sujin kept watch from across the street. She was older than the others and remembered stories her grandmother told about the time before the aliens came. Stories about when humans flew between the stars and fought in great battles. Most people thought those stories were just dreams. Juan looked up at the Caltharian patrol ship overhead. It moved slowly, scanning the ruins. "We wait until night," he said. Hours later, when the alien patrols had moved on, the 4 rebels returned to the hidden entrance. Dee had cleared away the metal sheets, revealing a doorway that led down into darkness. The metal was old but still strong. Strange symbols were carved into it. "Those are Korean letters," Nari said, running her fingers over the symbols. "Very old ones. They followed a tunnel that went deep underground. Their flashlights showed walls made of the same strong metal. The air smelled old and dusty, but it was clean. After walking for 10 minutes, they reached a massive door. Nari studied the door carefully. More Korean symbols covered its surface, along with numbers and what looked like a star map. "This is a military facility," she said. "Look at these markings." Dave found a control panel beside the door. Most of the buttons were dark, but one glowed with a soft blue light. "Should I try it?" he asked. Juan nodded. "We've come this far." Dave pressed the button. The door made a deep humming sound and slowly began to open. Lights flickered on inside one by one, revealing something that made them all stop and stare. A hangar stretched out before them, bigger than anything they had ever seen. And in the center, sitting like a sleeping giant, was a starship. The ship was enormous. Its hull was dark gray with blue markings that seemed to glow in the light. It looked nothing like the Caltharian ships that flew overhead every day. This ship looked powerful and dangerous, but also beautiful in a way that made Nari's heart beat faster. "Is that human?" Sujin whispered. They walked closer to the ship. Words were painted on its side in both Korean and English. UES Taeguk, United Earthship. Juan stopped walking. United Earthship? But the Caltharians told us humans never had real spaceships before they came. Nari was already taking pictures with her hidden camera. "They lied to us. Look at this ship. It's clearly human-built, but the technology..." She pointed at the weapons mounted on the ship's hull. "Those look more advanced than anything I've seen." Day found a ramp that led up to the ship's entrance. "The door is open," he called back to them. Inside the ship, more lights came on as they walked through the corridors. Everything was clean and seemed ready to use. The walls showed star charts and technical drawings. Signs in Korean pointed toward different parts of the ship: bridge, engineering, weapons control. They found the bridge at the front of the ship. It was filled with screens and control panels that looked far more advanced than anything in the Caltharian occupation buildings. In the captain's chair, they found a small device that looked like a recording player. Juan picked it up and pressed the play button. A hologram appeared above the device showing a Korean man in a military uniform. "My name is Captain Park Ji-ho," the hologram said in Korean. "Today is March 15th, 2157. If you are watching this, then the worst has happened and Earth has fallen to the Caltharian Empire." The 4 rebels looked at each other in shock. 2157 was over 200 years ago. The hologram continued. "The UES Taeguk is humanity's first prototype dreadnought. We built her in secret, using technology we learned from studying Caltharian scout ships. Yes, we knew they were coming long before they attacked." Captain Park's image flickered slightly. "We are hiding the Taeguk now because we know we cannot win this first war. But someday when humanity is ready to fight again, you will find her. The ship's AI will teach you everything you need to know. AI, Day whispered. The Caltherians think they destroyed all our military technology. The hologram went on. They think humans are weak and can never be a threat. They are wrong. The Teguk was built to kill their ships. Every weapon, every shield, every system was designed to fight them and win. The hologram began to fade. Remember who you are. Remember that humans were meant to fly among the stars. The Teguk is waiting for you. The recording ended, leaving them in silence. Sujin was the first to speak. If this is real, it changes everything, Juan finished. He looked around the bridge with new eyes. We need to learn how to use this ship. Nari was already studying the control panels. Look at these systems. If Captain Park was telling the truth, the ship might actually be able to fight Caltherian warships. Day sat down at what looked like an engineering station. But how do we wake up the AI? As if answering his question, the main screen on the bridge suddenly lit up. A voice spoke in clear Korean. Welcome aboard the UES Teguk. I am Aegis, the ship's artificial intelligence. I have been waiting a very long time for you to find me. The four rebels stared at the screen as words appeared. System status, hibernation mode. Estimated time to full activation, 72 hours. 72 hours. Aegis continued. To prepare for humanity's return to the stars. Juan felt something he had not felt in years. Hope. Real hope that humanity might actually have a chance to be free again. But first, they had to learn how to fly a starship that was built for war. 3 days had passed since they found the Teguk. Juan and his team took turns staying with the ship, learning from Aegis while pretending to work in the ruins above. The AI was patient, teaching them about systems they had never imagined. The Caltherians use energy shields that pulse in specific patterns, Aegis explained as Day studied the weapon controls. Human engineers in 2157 spent years analyzing those patterns. The Teguk's weapons are designed to fire between the pulses. Above ground, Commander Mira walked through the Sol ruins with her scanner team. She was a tall Caltherian with dark blue skin and 4 arms. Her people had ruled this planet for over a century, and she found humans boring. They were weak, simple creatures who only knew how to dig in the dirt for minerals. Any unusual energy readings? She asked her assistant. Small fluctuations in Sector 7, the scanner operator replied. Probably just old human machinery turning on and off. Mira barely looked at the data. Humans had no real technology. Everyone knew that. Continue the patrol, she ordered. Back in the hidden hangar, Nari was learning about the ship's history from Aegis. The AI showed her pictures of Earth in 2157, when humans had built cities on the Moon and Mars. It was hard to believe her own species had once been so advanced. Why don't any humans remember this? She asked. The Caltherians destroyed all records, Aegis answered. They removed every book, every computer file, every piece of evidence that humans were ever capable of space travel. They wanted to make sure you would never believe you could fight them. Sujin sat in the pilot's chair, her hands moving over controls that felt strange but somehow familiar.
My grandmother used to tell stories about human star pilots.
I thought they were just fairy tales. Your grandmother might have been a pilot herself, Aegis said. Many records were lost, but the dreams remained. The AI began teaching them about the ship's most important systems. The Teguk was not just a warship. It was a symbol of human engineering at its best. Where Caltherian ships relied on brute force, the Teguk used clever design and adaptable systems. See this armor plating? Aegis highlighted sections of the ship's hull on the main screen. It learns from enemy fire. Each hit makes it stronger against that type of weapon. Caltherian engineers never thought of this because they always expected to win quickly. Day was fascinated by the engines. These aren't like anything in our textbooks. Because your textbooks were written by Caltherians, Aegis replied. Human faster-than-light travel works differently. We don't force space to bend. We convince it to help us. As the hours passed, more systems came online. The Teguk sensors reached out into space, carefully hidden from Caltherian detection. Aegis showed them what it could see: patrol ships, cargo vessels, and something bigger. A Caltherian battle squadron just entered the outer system, Aegis reported. 3 cruisers escorting a supply convoy. They will pass through asteroid belt grid reference Delta 7 in 46 hours. Juan studied the tactical display. The Caltherian ships looked huge and threatening, but Aegis was highlighting weak points in their design. Could we actually fight them? The Teguk was built specifically to destroy Caltherian warships, Aegis answered. But you must understand the risks. Once we reveal ourselves, there will be no hiding. The Empire will know that humans have a warship again. That night, Juan called a meeting in the hangar. Word had spread carefully through the resistance network. 2 more rebels had joined them. Captain June, who led another cell, and Boram, an engineer who had studied captured Caltherian technology. This changes everything, June said as he stared at the massive ship. If we can actually fight their warships, we need to be careful, Boram warned. I've worked on their equipment for years. Caltherians are not as stupid as we hope they are. Aegis projected a hologram of the convoy route. The supply ships carry equipment for their mining operations on Europa. If we destroy them, it will hurt their production but not trigger a massive response. Nari looked worried. What if we fail? What if the ship doesn't work as well as we hope? Then humanity stays enslaved, Juan said simply. We have to try. Sujin was already running pre-flight checks with Aegis guiding her. The ship feels ready. All systems are green. The stealth systems are particularly important, Aegis explained. Caltherian sensors cannot detect the Teguk when it is properly hidden. This technology came from studying their own ships and finding their blind spots. Dee had been quiet, studying the engineering displays. Aegis, how long were humans studying Caltherian technology before the invasion? Approximately 43 years, the AI replied. The first Caltherian scout ship was captured in 2114. By 2157, human scientists understood their technology better than many Caltherians did. This surprised everyone. We were ready for them? June asked. The military was ready, Aegis said, but the politicians were not. When the invasion came, human leaders tried to surrender quickly to save lives. They did not know about ships like the Teguk. Boram shook her head. So we could have won the first war? Perhaps. But the cost would have been terrible. Billions would have died. The leaders who chose surrender were not wrong, just unprepared. Juan walked around the bridge, touching the controls that would soon be used in battle. How many ships like this were built? The Teguk was the first and only prototype. The invasion came before the production models could be completed, so if we lose this ship, there will not be another, Aegis finished. The weight of responsibility settled on all of them. They were not just planning an attack on a convoy. They were carrying the hopes of their entire species. We need more people, June said. This ship is huge. Can 4 people really fly it? The Teguk was designed for a crew of 50, Aegis replied. But most systems are automated. In emergency mode, 3 people can operate the ship effectively. Sujin looked up from the pilot controls. When do we leave? Juan checked the countdown timer Aegis had put on the main screen. 38 hours until the convoy reaches the intercept point. Then we have 36 hours to become Starship crew, Nari said. Aegis began the final phase of their training. The AI taught them about space combat, about how ships moved and fought in the vacuum between worlds. It was different from any fighting humans had known on Earth. Remember, Aegis said as they practiced with the simulators, Caltherians expect their enemies to fight like Caltherians. They expect direct attacks and simple tactics. The Teguk's advantage is that it fights like a human ship. What does that mean? Day asked. It means we are unpredictable, we adapt. We survive. As the hours passed, the team began to work together like a real crew. Sujin learned to fly the ship as if it were part of her body. Day mastered the engineering systems that kept everything running. Nari took control of sensors and communications. Juan studied tactics and weapons. Final systems check in 6 hours, Aegis announced. They were as ready as they could be. Soon, they would find out if humanity's forgotten prototype could really fight among the stars. Commander Mira was about to learn that her boring assignment on Earth was about to become much more interesting. The Teguk moved silently through space, invisible to Caltherian sensors. Sujin sat in the pilot's chair, her hands steady on the controls. She had been flying for 6 hours, and the ship felt like a natural extension of her thoughts. Target convoy bearing 27 Mark IV, Aegis reported. Distance 50,000 kilometers and closing. On the main screen, they could see 3 dark shapes moving against the stars. The Caltherian cruisers were huge, each one twice the size of the Teguk. Between them, smaller cargo ships carried supplies for the mining operations on Europa. Juan stood behind the weapons console where Dai was running final checks. Remember, we hit fast and hard. No warning, no mercy. Nari monitored the communications channels. They're using standard patrol chatter. Nothing about unusual sensor readings. The stealth systems are working perfectly, Aegis confirmed. They have no idea we are here. Captain June had joined them for this mission, taking the secondary weapons station. His hands were shaking slightly, but his voice was calm. I still can't believe we're really doing this. Boram was in engineering, watching the power systems that would soon feed the Teguk's weapons. All systems stable. We're ready. The convoy moved in a standard Caltharian formation. The three cruisers formed a triangle around the cargo ships, their weapons pointed outward to watch for threats. It was a formation that had protected Caltharian convoys for centuries. They're not expecting an attack from below, Sujin observed, studying the tactical display. Caltharians always think in terms of flat space, Aegis explained. They rarely consider attacks from above or below the plane of the solar system. Juan nodded. Take us under them. We'll come up between the cruisers and the cargo ships. The Teguk dove downward, its movements graceful and silent. The ship's gravity systems kept the crew comfortable, while they maneuvered in ways that would have made Caltharian pilots sick. 20,000 kilometers, Aegis announced, entering optimal firing range in 30 seconds. Day's fingers moved over the weapon controls. The Teguk's main guns were different from anything the Caltharians had seen. Instead of firing one massive blast, they shot rapid sequences of particle beams that could adjust their frequency between shots. First target locked, Day reported. The lead cruiser. Fire when ready, Juan ordered. The Teguk struck like lightning. Its weapons lit up the darkness of space as they hammered the lead cruiser's shields. The Caltharian ship's barriers flickered and collapsed under the unexpected attack pattern. Alarms began screaming on the Caltharian bridge. Unknown vessel attacking. The communications officer shouted. Shields are failing. The cruiser's captain was a veteran warrior named Korthak. He had fought dozens of battles and never lost. Return fire! All weapons! But the Teguk was already gone, moving faster than Caltharian sensors could track. The ship's quantum drive allowed it to change direction instantly, something no Caltharian ship could do. Second target locked, June called out as the Teguk appeared behind another cruiser. This time, they concentrated their fire on the ship's engines. The particle beams cut through armor that was supposed to be impenetrable. Explosions bloomed along the cruiser's hull as its power systems overloaded. What kind of ship is that? Korthak demanded. How are they moving so fast? His sensors officer was studying the readings frantically. Unknown technology, sir. The weapon signatures don't match any known species. The third cruiser tried to run, but the Teguk was faster. Sujin brought them alongside the fleeing ship, close enough that their weapons could punch through the thickest armor. Target their bridge, Juan ordered. The cruiser's command center disappeared in a ball of fire. The massive ship went dark and began drifting helplessly through space. All three cruisers disabled, Aegis reported. Cargo vessels are attempting to flee. Let them go, Juan said. We've made our point. But as the cargo ships jumped to faster than light speed, they sent automatic distress signals to every Caltharian ship in the system. Within minutes, the news would reach Admiral Keith's battle fleet. Mission accomplished, Sujin said, turning the Teguk away from the wreckage. The stealth systems are still working. They never got a clear look at us. Day was grinning as he powered down the weapons. Did you see how fast their shields collapsed? Aegis was right about the frequency modulation. The Caltharians have never faced weapons designed specifically to counter their technology, Aegis explained. They have become overconfident. As they flew back toward Earth, Nari monitored Caltharian communications. They're calling it a terrorist attack. Admiral Keth is demanding a full investigation. Good, Juan said. Let them investigate. They won't find anything they can understand. But Aegis was already analyzing the tactical data from the battle. There is a problem, the AI announced. The distress signals contain detailed sensor readings of our weapons fire. Admiral Keth will recognize that this was not a terrorist attack. What do you mean? Boram asked from engineering. Admiral Keth is known for his tactical intelligence. When he sees this data, he will understand that the attackers used advanced military technology. He will begin hunting for a hidden enemy fleet. Juan felt his excitement cooling. How long before he figures out what really happened? Unknown. But Admiral Keth has never lost a battle. He will not underestimate this threat. Captain June was studying the long-range sensors. Speaking of Admiral Keth, his battle fleet just changed course. They're heading this way. On the main screen, they could see distant points of light moving toward the inner system. 12 Caltherian warships, including Keth's flagship, a massive dreadnought that dwarfed even the largest human ships. How long until they reach Earth? Nari asked. At their current speed, approximately 18 hours, Aegis calculated. Sujin was already plotting evasive courses. Can we hide from them? For a while. But Admiral Keth will begin systematic searches of every asteroid, every moon, every possible hiding place. Eventually, he will find us. Juan looked around the bridge at his small crew. They had just won their first victory against the Caltherian Empire. But now they faced a much larger threat. What are our options? He asked Aegis. We can run. The Teguk is faster than any ship in Keth's fleet. We could escape to the outer system or even to another star. And leave Earth defenseless? Or we can fight. The Teguk was designed to destroy Caltherian warships. In theory, we could engage Admiral Keth's fleet. In theory? Dai asked. The Teguk has never faced 12 enemy ships at once. The tactical simulations suggest victory is possible, but the probability of crew survival is low. The bridge fell silent as they considered their choices. Run and save themselves or stay and fight for their homeworld. There's a third option, Nari said quietly. We could make them think there are more ships than just the Teguk. Aegis paused, processing this idea. Explain. You said the ship's stealth and ECM systems could create false sensor readings. What if we made it look like Earth has an entire defense fleet? Interesting. If Admiral Keth believes he faces multiple human warships, he might retreat to get reinforcements. Or he might attack anyway, Juan pointed out. You said he's never lost a battle. That's true. Admiral Keth is known for his pride as much as his skill. Sujin turned from the pilot's chair. So we might end up fighting anyway. At least this way we choose the time and place, Juan decided. Aegis, can you create the illusion of a human fleet? Yes. The Teguk's electronic warfare systems are very advanced. I can make it appear that multiple ships are operating throughout the solar system. Then that's what we do. Admiral Keth wants to hunt for hidden enemies? Let's give him something to hunt. As the Teguk raced back toward Earth's moon, Aegis began preparing the most complex deception in human history. Soon Admiral Keth would face an enemy he thought had been destroyed over a century ago. The test was over. Now came the real war. Admiral Keth stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominator, as his fleet approached Earth. He was a massive Caltherian with scars from a dozen battles covering his dark blue skin. His forearms moved across different control panels as he studied the tactical displays. Report, he ordered his fleet commander. No sign of the attacking vessels, Admiral. Our sensors show normal traffic around Earth. Human mining ships, orbital platforms, nothing unusual. Keth's eyes narrowed. 3 of our cruisers do not simply disappear. Increase scanning power. Check every asteroid, every moon, every piece of debris. Unknown to the Caltherians, the Teguk was hiding in the shadow of Earth's moon. Aegis had begun the most complex electronic warfare operation in human history. The AI was creating false sensor readings across the entire solar system. Deception protocols active, Aegis reported to the human crew. I am now projecting the signatures of 6 additional warships at various locations. Nari watched the tactical display as fake blips appeared on their screens. To Caltherian sensors, it would look like human ships were operating near Mars, in the asteroid belt and around Jupiter's moons. Will they believe it? Juan asked. Admiral Keth is experienced, Aegis replied, but he has never faced human electronic warfare. Our deception techniques were developed specifically to fool Caltherian sensors. On the Dominator's bridge, the sensor officer suddenly looked up from his station. Admiral, we're detecting multiple contacts throughout the system. Keth moved to the sensor station with quick, powerful steps. Show me. The display lit up with contacts that seemed to appear and disappear randomly. 7. No, 8 unknown vessels. They're using some kind of stealth technology. Impossible, Keth growled. Humans have no advanced technology. The weapon signatures from the convoy attack match these contacts, sir. These are definitely the ships that destroyed our cruisers. Admiral Keth studied the readings carefully. His tactical mind was already working through the possibilities. A hidden human fleet. They must have been building these ships in secret. Should we call for reinforcements? His fleet commander asked. Keth's pride flared. 12 warships against 8 human vessels? We end this now, before they can escape or call for help. Admiral, His communications officer interrupted. "We're receiving a transmission. It's coming from Earth. Put it on screen." The main display showed a human in a military uniform standing on what looked like a starship bridge. It was Juan, broadcasting from the Taeguk, though the signal had been altered to hide their location. "This is Captain Juan of the Earth Defense Fleet," he said in accented but clear Caltherian. "Your empire has enslaved our people for too long. Leave our system now or face the consequences." Keth laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "Earth Defense Fleet? Humans playing at being warriors. We destroyed your convoy easily," Juan continued. "Your ships are old and slow. Your tactics are predictable. Leave now while you still can." The transmission ended, leaving Keth's bridge in angry silence. "Insolent humans," the fleet commander snarled. "They dare threaten us?" But Keth was thinking more carefully. "This Captain Juan speaks our language well. He understands military protocol. These are not just rebels with stolen ships, hidden in the moon's shadow. The real human crew was preparing for what they knew would come next." "Keth won't retreat," Aegis confirmed, analyzing the Admiral's psychological profile. "His pride will demand that he attack." Day was running final checks on all systems. "The ship is ready, but fighting 12 warships, we have advantages they don't expect," Sujin said from the pilot's chair. "Speed, stealth, and weapons they've never seen before." Boram's voice came from engineering. "All systems green. The quantum drive is running perfectly." Nari was monitoring Caltherian communications. "They're forming up for attack." Keth is dividing his fleet into 3 groups. "Standard Caltherian tactics," Aegis noted. "They will try to surround and overwhelm what they think is our fleet." "Time to give them something to chase," Juan decided. "Aegis, make it look like our ships are running scared." The AI began moving the false sensor contacts away from the Caltherian fleet. To Admiral Keth, it would appear that the human ships were trying to escape. "They're fleeing," Keth's sensor officer reported. "All contacts moving away at high speed. Pursue them," Keth ordered. "Split the fleet. Group Alpha, follow the contacts near Mars. Group Beta, intercept the ships heading for the asteroid belt. Group Gamma, with me, we'll hunt the ones near Jupiter." The Caltherian fleet spread out across the solar system, chasing shadows. Each group thought they were pursuing real enemy ships. "Perfect," Aegis said. "They have divided their forces. Now we can engage them one group at a time." "Which group first?" Juan asked. "Group Alpha has 4 ships. They are the smallest force and furthest from reinforcements." The Taeguk emerged from the moon's shadow like a predator awakening. Its stealth systems kept it hidden as Sujin piloted them toward Mars at incredible speed. Group Alpha was led by Captain Vorthak, one of Keth's most aggressive commanders. His 4 ships moved in tight formation, following what they thought were fleeing human vessels. "Contact bearing 047, his sensor officer reported. "They're trying to hide behind Mars. Close and engage," Vorthak ordered. "Show these humans the price of defying the Empire." The Caltherian ships rounded Mars, expecting to find human vessels cowering behind the planet. Instead, they found empty space. "Where are they?" Vorthak demanded. That was when the Taeguk struck. The human ship appeared directly above the Caltherian formation, dropping out of stealth at point-blank range. Its weapons opened fire before the aliens could react. The first Caltherian ship exploded as the Taeguk's particle beams found its reactor. The second ship tried to turn and fight, but the human vessel was already gone, moving faster than Caltherian ships could track. "Unknown vessel," Vorthak shouted into his communicator. "We are under attack. It's using some kind of teleportation technology." The Taeguk reappeared behind the third ship, its weapons cutting through armor like paper. Captain June was getting better with the secondary guns, targeting weak points that Aegis highlighted on his display. "2 ships down," Day reported. "The other 2 are trying to run. Don't let them escape," Juan ordered. "We can't let them report what they've seen." Sujin pushed the Taeguk to its limits, chasing down the fleeing ships. The quantum drive allowed maneuvers that seemed impossible, making the ship appear to be in multiple places at once. The last 2 Caltherian ships died within minutes of each other, their crews never understanding what had killed them. "Group Alpha eliminated," Aegis reported. "Admiral Keth is attempting to contact them." Nari was listening to the increasingly frantic Caltherian communications. "They're confused. Keth doesn't know what happened to Group Alpha. Let's keep him confused," Juan said. "Aegis create more false contacts." Make it look like we have ships everywhere. The AI began projecting new sensor ghosts throughout the system. To the Caltherians, it appeared that human ships were multiplying, appearing in impossible numbers. Admiral, Keth's sensor officer called out in panic. We're showing 20, 30 contacts now. They're everywhere. Keth stared at the tactical display in disbelief. How is this possible? Where are they coming from? His fleet commander was studying the readings frantically. Sir, some of these signatures don't match any known technology. These ships are using systems we've never encountered. For the first time in his career, Admiral Keth felt something he had never experienced before. Uncertainty. The humans were proving far more dangerous than anyone had believed possible. Recall all groups, he ordered. Reform the fleet. We need to understand what we're facing. But as his ships tried to regroup, the Teguk was already hunting Group Beta in the asteroid belt. The real war was just beginning. The Caltherians were about to learn that humanity had not forgotten how to fight among the stars. They had simply been waiting for the right moment to remind the galaxy who they really were. Admiral Keth's fleet regrouped near Earth's orbit, but the Admiral's confidence was shaken. He had lost Group Alpha completely, and his sensors showed human ships appearing and disappearing across the entire solar system. Status report, Keth demanded. 8 ships remain operational, his fleet commander reported. No contact with Group Alpha for 2 hours. Group Beta reports attacking multiple human vessels in the asteroid belt, but their targets keep vanishing. Keth studied the tactical display with growing frustration. How many human ships are we actually facing? Unknown, sir. Our sensors show anywhere from 12 to 30 contacts, but they use stealth technology we cannot penetrate. What the Caltherians didn't know was that there was only one human ship. The Teguk had just finished destroying Group Beta's 3 ships in the asteroid belt, using the same hit-and-run tactics that had worked near Mars. Group Beta eliminated, Aegis reported to the human crew. Admiral Keth now has 8 ships remaining. Juan looked tired but determined. They had been fighting for 6 hours and the strain was showing on everyone. Can we take 8 ships at once? Not in direct combat, Aegis admitted. But Admiral Keth is becoming desperate. Desperate commanders make mistakes. Nari was monitoring Caltherian communications. They're arguing among themselves. Some want to retreat and call for reinforcements. But not Keth, Sujin said. She had been studying the Admiral's tactical patterns. He's too proud to run. His remaining ships are forming a defensive sphere around his flagship, Aegis observed. He's trying to force us to attack his strongest position. Day looked up from the engineering station. The ship's holding up well, but our weapons are running hot. We need to end this soon. That was when Juan made a decision that would change everything. Aegis, stop the deception protocols. Show them exactly what they're really facing. Are you certain? Once they know there is only one ship, they'll attack with everything they have, Juan finished. But they'll also be confused and angry. Confused enemies make fatal mistakes. Aegis shut down the electronic warfare systems. Across the solar system, the false sensor contacts disappeared. Admiral Keth's bridge fell silent as the truth became clear. Sir, the sensor officer said in a quiet voice, all contacts have vanished except one. Keth stared at the display showing a single ship approaching from the direction of Mars. One ship? One ship destroyed 7 of my vessels? The energy signature matches all previous attacks, the officer confirmed. Keth's anger was terrible to see. His forearms moved across the control panels as he prepared his remaining fleet for battle. All ships, attack formation, Kresh 7. We will crush this human vessel and end their rebellion forever. The 8 Caltherian warships spread into a complex pattern designed to surround and destroy any enemy. It was a formation that had worked against dozens of different species. But they had never faced a ship like the Teguk. Here they come, Sujin said, watching the enemy fleet approach. 8 against 1. No, Juan corrected. 8 Caltherian ships against 1 human ship. That makes us the favorites. The Teguk accelerated toward the enemy formation at a speed that shocked the Caltherian commanders. Most ships would try to stay at long range using missiles and energy beams, but the human ship flew straight into the heart of their formation. They're insane, Keth's fleet commander shouted. They're flying into our crossfire. But the Teguk was not where the Caltherians expected it to be. Sujin used the ship's quantum drive to change direction in impossible ways, making the vessel appear to dance between enemy fire. Target the flagship, Juan ordered. Day and June concentrated all weapons on the Dominator. The Teguk's particle beams struck Keth's massive ship again and again, each hit precisely targeted at critical systems. Shields failing, Keth's engineering officer reported. Hull breaches on decks 7 through 12. Keth refused to retreat. All ships, focus fire on that vessel. Destroy it! The Caltherian ships poured energy into the space where the Teguk had been, but the human ship was already gone, appearing behind another enemy vessel. The armor is adapting perfectly, Boram reported from engineering. Each hit makes us stronger against their weapons. This was the Teguk's greatest advantage. The ship learned from every attack, adjusting its defenses to counter enemy fire. The longer the battle lasted, the harder it became to hurt the human vessel. Second target destroyed, Aegis announced as another Caltherian ship exploded. Admiral Keth watched his fleet dying around him and finally understood what he was facing. This was not just a human ship. This was a weapon specifically designed to kill Caltherian vessels. How is this possible? He demanded. Humans had no such technology. His communications officer looked up from her station. Admiral, I'm receiving data from our archive ships. There are records of human vessels from before the conquest. This ship matches designs from over 2 centuries ago. Impossible. We destroyed all human military capability. Apparently not all of it, sir. 3 more Caltherian ships died in rapid succession. The Teguk moved through their formation like a shark among fish, its weapons cutting through armor and shields that should have been impenetrable. 4 ships remaining, Nari reported, including the flagship. Keth's ship was badly damaged, but the Admiral was not finished. All remaining vessels ramming speed. If we cannot destroy them with weapons, we will crush them with our hulls. The 4 surviving ships accelerated toward the Teguk, trying to use their size and mass as weapons. It was a desperate tactic, but one that might work against a smaller vessel. They're trying to ram us, Sujin called out. Let them try, Juan said grimly. Aegis, prepare the Soul Cannon. The Soul Cannon was the Teguk's most powerful weapon. It focused the ship's entire power output into a single devastating beam. It could only be fired once before needing to recharge, but that one shot could destroy almost anything. Soul Cannon charging, Aegis reported. Target locked on the flagship. Admiral Keth saw the energy building up in the human ship's main gun. Evasive maneuvers. All ships scatter. But it was too late. The Soul Cannon fired, sending a beam of pure energy across space. It struck the Dominator directly in the center, punching through the massive ship like it was made of paper. Admiral Keth's flagship exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the darkness around Earth. The shockwave destroyed another Caltherian ship and sent the remaining 2 tumbling helplessly through space. Admiral Keth is dead, Aegis confirmed. 2 enemy ships remain, but they are surrendering. The surviving Caltherian captains were broadcasting surrender messages in every language they knew. They had never seen anything like the Teguk, and they wanted no part of continuing the fight. Juan stood in the center of the bridge, looking at the tactical display that showed the wreckage of the Caltherian fleet. Open a channel to all human colonies. It's time they knew what happened here. Nari activated the communications system. Channel open. Broadcasting on all frequencies. Juan looked into the camera that would carry his message across the galaxy. This is Captain Juan of the United Earth ship Teguk. Today we destroyed a Caltherian battle fleet in Earth's orbit. The Empire is not invincible. They can be beaten. He paused, letting that truth sink in across dozens of human worlds. For over a century, we were told that humans are weak, that we could never stand against the Empire. They lied to us. Our ancestors built ships like the Teguk. They prepared for this war. We are the children of star travelers and warriors. Across the galaxy, in mines and factories and slave camps, humans stopped their work to listen. The Caltherians thought they had broken us. They thought we had forgotten who we are. But some things cannot be broken. Some memories cannot be erased. Today, Earth remembers. The transmission ended, but its message would spread through the underground networks on every human world. The myth of Caltherian invincibility was dead. What happens now? Sujin asked. Aegis was already analyzing reports from across the galaxy. Resistance movements are activating on 7 worlds. 3 human colonies have declared independence. The Empire is scrambling to respond to multiple uprisings. Day was grinning as he watched the tactical display. We did it. We actually did it. This is just the beginning, Juan warned. The Empire will send more fleets. We need to be ready. The Teguk will be ready, Aegis promised. And perhaps it will not fight alone. The ship's construction plans are in my memory banks. Other ships can be built. Boram looked up from her engineering station. How long to build another Teguk? With human determination and the resources of free worlds? Perhaps 2 years. Nari was already thinking ahead. 2 years to build a fleet. 2 years to prepare for the Empire's return. They will come, Juan agreed, but they will face a different humanity than the one they conquered. They will face a species that remembers how to fight among the stars. Outside the Teguk's viewports, Earth turned slowly in space. For the first time in over a century, it was defended by human weapons and human courage. The Empire would learn that some species are too stubborn to stay conquered. The Teguk's war was just beginning. But humanity's future among the stars was no longer in doubt.